what might come to the surprise of many, this is our co-main event of the evening at lightweight between Bulldozer, Ottman Azaitar, and the Death Star Khama. Now, is a Bulldozer better than the Death Star as a nickname? No, it's not. Death Star is way better. But this fight should be an absolute banger because for Ottman Azaitar, of his 12 wins, 11 by finish. If you look his opposite, Khama at a 16 total wins, 12 of them by finish. These guys can knock somebody's block completely off. And for Khama, he is on a tidy little win streak since moving back up to 55. He fought early on in his career at lightweight, has a loss to Paul Felder. He dropped down to featherweight, but the weight cut was way too much for him. I mean, if you look at his last two losses to Anthony Reddick and Kyle Nelson, the Canadian that's also on this card, both of them first round finish losses. So he comes back to 55, 1 win, 2 win, 3 win, 4 win. He's won 7 in a row. And in the UFC, first round knockout over Devontae Smith, former training partner. That was very impressive. He was a big underdog. If you look over in Tapology, they say plus 640 for an underdog.
Pretty crazy.
He beat Luis Pena in his last time out. He was more than a 2-1 underdog, and he looked really good in that fight. And this is a guy that you talk about like a 5-tool player. Khama-Worthy's got a lot of really good strengths to his credit, man.
He does, and a lot of people are going to look at his record and really discount it because of all those earlier losses on his career, but
hey,
we see it.
We did. I gotta say that. If you go back and watch our videos on Khama-Worthy, we picked Pena to win, we picked Smith to win, but, like, give the guy credit where it's due. Sorry.
Exactly, and that's what I was about to get into. So Devontae Smith, he knocked Smith out, but it was a really weird fight because Smith was starting to do kind of well, and then they were really buddy-buddy, and every time they'd, like, land a hard shot, they'd high-five. And then Khama-Worthy cracks with a good shot behind the ear, knocks him out. So going into the Pena fight, I was really thinking, well, Khama-Worthy, he kind of won a bit of a fluky win. He was a big underdog. He beat the brakes off Luis Pena, though. It was a great fight. They went back and forth, but when it really came down to it, the power of Khama-Worthy, he's a great striker at 155. And then the grappling, too, which was really part of his game that not a lot of people, I don't think, realized was at the level of his striking. And, okay, it's not at the level of his striking, but he's really good on the ground if the fight does happen to go down there. Khama-Worthy, too. There's a great example. There's a lot of them out there. Robert Whittaker, for instance, fought at 170, gets knocked out, fights at 185, has an amazing chin, and goes on to win the title. A change of weight class can really just change the direction of your whole career. I'm not saying Khama-Worthy's going to go on to become lightweight champion, but you definitely see this is a completely different fighter at 155, and his performances so far have shown it. Against Ottman Azaitar, though, a guy who, in his UFC debut, fought Teemu Packalén, a guy who a lot of people recognize from that big March Casey knockout that really started the March Casey hype train. Azaitar was able to finish him in a very similar fashion. He was landing strikes at will up until the finish. And it wasn't just the fact that, oh, he's got a lot of this power. He's got incredible hand speed, really good boxing combinations, and then the power is just kind of the cherry on top. You really only need 2 of those 3 to be an effective MMA fighter. Luckily for Azaitar, he has all 3. I think this fight's really interesting, and this is honestly my pick 4 fight of the night.
This should be so much fun because I really don't expect it to go to the ground. You look at Ottman Azaitar, maybe you're not familiar with him, and again, you brought up that fight against Teemu Packalén, and whether or not you agree that maybe Packalén probably not the most UFC caliber of fighter, I mean, Ottman Azaitar gave a great account of himself. That was at UFC 242, somewhat close to home, a lot closer to home than Vegas is for Azaitar, obviously repping Morocco. His brother's Abu Azaitar that you might recognize as well. Really good fighter there. And for Azaitar, Ottman that is, had a lot of success over with Brave. He is and was putting on really good fights over there. I mean, Brave, CF lightweight champ going back to 2017, the last time he fought for the belt against Alejandro Martinez. But we talked about it. I mean, the finishes. And if you look at it, all of those wins, 8 of his total by knockout. So you know that, like you said, the hand speed's there, the power's there. He can really kind of get in close and start to land. And we saw that when he was getting in close to Packalén, who kind of fought like an old-timey put your dukes up type of guy. Azaitar, nice uppercuts up the middle. If he had to mix in some of the hooks, he could. The hand speed was amazing. I mean, I can't talk about that enough. Ottman Azaitar, though, in that fight against Packalén, so he beat him. And he was able to overcome the one thing that I think is going to pose him a problem in this fight. It's his size. Ottman Azaitar is not a big guy for 155. I mean, you can see it on the screen. He's going to be the shorter man. He's going to have a lot less in terms of reach. But against Packalén, he looked a lot smaller. Khama-Worthy's a big 55er. It's crazy that he even fought at 45. And he'll talk about it. Go watch some of his interview clips. The fact that 45 is just way too much for him. I can understand that for sure. So Khama-Worthy riding a wave where I was the underdog. If we look at the odds in this fight, is he the underdog? No, he's actually a slight favorite. He opened as a plus 105 underdog. Money came in quick on Azaitar, and then it just snowballed by way of Worthy. He's sitting around a minus 135 right now. If you look over at Ottman Azaitar, opened as a minus 125, it dropped. He got as low as minus 170 at one point. Now he's at a plus 110. There's a lot of things that I like about Ottman Azaitar. It seems like he's been in Vegas for, 2 or 3 weeks now. If you go over onto the Instagrams, he flew over there. So you're going to be acclimatized. You're probably not going to have to worry about those dreaded COVID tests. Hopefully we don't. And hopefully this fight actually happens and delivers, because I think, like you said, possibility for a fight of the night. Ottman Azaitar is as credentialed a striker as you're going to find. If you look over, he's a Thai boxing master of sport. And like I said, the former Brave CF lightweight champ. And Khama Worthy, for what it's worth, was a 24/7 lightweight champ back in 2019 before he came into the UFC. I love this fight. I think Striker's Paradise, we talk about it all the time. And if Coolio could make that song, hit us up, Coolio, if you're an MMA fan. We'd love to bring you on. But also, please cover that and sing that into a Fight Night Picks intro. But more specifically, I mean, Khama Worthy opening as an underdog. The money's coming in on him over on Tapology at a 444 vote. 65% going Worthy. 65% by knockout. I don't know about that, but I love this fight.
So Azaitar's over-aggressiveness is going to get him clipped in this fight. I think Khama Worthy has more than enough power to put Azaitar down. We've seen it in his past fights. And the problem is, Azaitar is going to have to close distance to even land strikes. But the problem is, you're going to be walking onto those straight punches of Khama Worthy while you're trying to even initiate your own offense. So for you to even be on the offensive, you're going to be eating shots from a really big power puncher at 155. I think the Khama Worthy that we've seen in the UFC so far has been just one of the cooler stories. I mean, he was going to retire before he got the call from the UFC, ends up, knocking out his former training partner, a guy who had a bunch of hype behind him going into that fight, and then beating another really top prospect. I think it's a cool story. I think Worthy's going to be able to get it done, but this is going to be a very competitive fight. It's a very close fight. I can see it going either way. I just think the fact that Worthy can keep such a distance with his strikes, and that Azaitar is always going to be coming into them, I think eventually Worthy's going to land a big shot, put him down.
Let us know who you're going with down in the comments for this fight. I'm going to be in agreement with Matt. I really do think that Khama Worthy's going to be able to come out with a win. I think this is a super close fight, really close on paper. You saw the jump in the odds all over the place. The fans are kind of all over the place. So let us know who you're going with. But we're both going with Khama Worthy. And make sure you check out Question Mark Kicks on Saturday night to get ready for this fight. I have the advantage of the post-weigh-in pictures, the face-offs. Maybe you have Zalim Amadiev getting way too over-aggressive. And I switched my pick from Amadiev to Pahea, going 6-1 last weekend. Matt, we had a great weekend. So both going with Khama Worthy. We've got a lot of great under-the-radar fights on this card as well that you should check out, including an extended look at our main event between Michelle Waterson and Angela Hill. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt. And as we always say, let's get into it.